Hello there, everyone, and welcome to this German GCSE and iGCSE video tutorial. So in this particular video tutorial, we are looking at the speaking exam overall, and I'm going to give some general tips on how to prepare for and how to ace your speaking exam as part of your German GCSE and iGCSE. So, first of all, I'm Dhananjay Talwar, and I studied French and Italian for my MA degree at the University of Cambridge. So, two other modern languages, of course. I graduated from there back in 2015, and I've been an educator, mostly a full time tutor, since that time. I am really passionate about languages, as I'm sure you'll be able to tell, and I've learnt more than 20 languages myself to different levels, which includes at least 9 to fluency. One of those is, of course, German, and it's something that I'm really passionate about. And I love to learn more and more languages. It's a real hobby and passion of mine, but equally to motivate my students, to get them, motivated and keen to learn more and more languages, and to give them the tools to be able to do so efficiently while having a great deal of fun, while having a lot of fun at the same time. So it's been a very, very rewarding journey as a tutor so far. And I've been lucky to help over 500 students already achieve or exceed their target grade in language GCSEs or iGCSEs as a full-time tutor. I have taught a variety of different languages, of course, 8 of them so far to GCSE and iGCSE level, and some of those at higher levels too. So these are the German GCSE and iGCSE exam boards. And as a student, you should ideally recognize your own exam board here. If you're in year 10 or year 11 or going to do the final German GCSE or iGCSE exams soon, then it's definitely a good idea to be aware of which exam board you're studying. Because while there is considerable overlap, particularly regarding the topic areas, there can be differences in terms of the format or the syllabus of the different papers as well. And even the speaking exam can be somewhat different for different exam boards too. The good news, though, is that this particular video is relevant for students of all of these exam boards. So no matter which one of these exam boards you are studying, for your German GCSE or iGCSE, you should continue to watch this video because there will be lots of pointers and tips in it for you. And that's because this video covers the German GCSE and iGCSE speaking exam overall and how you can prepare for and maximize your grade for the speaking exam as a whole, rather than just specific exam board specific parts of the speaking exam. Okay, so before we actually get into the tips, before I dish out the dirt on how to boost your mark in the German GCSE and iGCSE speaking exam, I thought I'd just take you through all of the different potential parts of the German GCSE or iGCSE speaking exam. And those are the role play, the reading aloud task, the photo card, and the topic-based conversation. So, of course, not every student will have to do all of these. That depends on your exam board and potentially also on whether you're doing foundation or higher tier. So make sure that you're aware of that as well, so that you can prepare as effectively as possible for your actual exams. The different exam boards do have different components. The reading aloud task, for instance, is specific to both AQA and Pearson EdXL GCSE. None of the other exam boards have to do that as part of their speaking exam. There is considerable overlap in terms of the exact format and the different parts of the speaking exam. But try and check the website of your particular exam board and make sure that you have the most accurate and up-to-date information available as to what your particular speaking exam will consist of. I do have separate videos, though, on each of these different parts of the speaking exam or potential parts of your speaking exam. So there's one on the role play, one on the reading aloud task, one on the photo card, and another video on the topic-based conversation. So do watch those. I highly recommend going through each of the videos for all of the parts that will be relevant for your speaking test. Now let's go to let's go through the German GCSE and iGCSE speaking exam overall. So the speaking exam tends to be the vast majority of the time it will be the first part of the German GCSE or iGCSE exams for students, which also means that it can be the most nerve-wracking part of the German GCSE or iGCSE for many students. In my considerable experience doing German GCSE and four other languages for GCSE myself, and teaching many of these languages, including German, to GCSE level 2. This tends to be the speaking exam tends to be the one part of GCSE or iGCSE languages that students fear the most. And that is firstly because it is the first part of the GCSE or iGCSE papers for languages. You tend to do the speaking exam a whole month, or potentially even more than a whole month before the rest of the papers. And because there's that feeling of being on the spot and that you're being examined live, so to speak, which may not be there with the other written papers. So for that reason, and because your mood after the speaking exam and how you feel about the rest of the papers will often be dictated by how you feel the speaking exam goes. So do take your time to revise, do prepare as well as possible for your speaking exam. There are some advantages, of course, of having that break of about a month or even potentially more than a month before you do the rest of the other exam papers, the written papers for German GCSE or iGCSE. But definitely the speaking exam is not something to be complacent about or try and take too lightly. And if you're on the other end of the spectrum and trying to and getting too worked up about it, then do try and calm yourself down and just go into it with the mindset of giving it the best that you possibly can. It's important to note that students will get 10 to 15 minutes of preparation time too. The exact duration of that preparation time varies. It depends on your exam board, possibly whether you're doing foundation or higher tier 2. So do check out the website of your exam board to get the most accurate information for that. But that preparation time, of course, is when you as a student are sitting there in a room, a separate room, not the room where the speaking exam will actually take place. And it would just be you as a student with potentially one or two other students who are also preparing and an invigilator. And the invigilator's only job there is to make sure that you don't cheat and that you don't, say, use the internet or look up any German words during that prep time. That 10 to 15 minutes of preparation time, as you'll see, is really important. So even potentially practicing that and being clear on how to maximize the benefit of that is really important. It can be one thing that really separates the top candidates from the others as well. You'll have all of your candidate cards during that preparation time. So the aim in that preparation time is definitely to plan out what you're going to say in German in each part of the speaking exam as much as you possibly can. And if you are able to write down things on a separate piece of paper, which you can do in your preparation time for certain exam boards, then don't hesitate to do that at all, because that's a significant advantage. Okay, so here are some of my top tips for the speaking exam overall. Make full use of the preparation time, of course. As mentioned, that can really separate the top candidates or the best candidates from the others. The top candidates will make really good use of their preparation time and make sure that they don't sit there staring into space for a large portion of that preparation time at all. That preparation time is the time to prepare, to try and script out or mentally plan out exactly what you're going to say for all of your candidate cards as much as you can, and potentially even anticipating the unpredictable questions that you may be asked too. Memorize key phrases. That's something I mention a lot, but certainly not something to overlook. It's quite an easy and quick way to potentially really increase your grades. And key phrases include harder parts, phrases which contain harder parts of German grammar, potentially more advanced or topic-specific words too. So they could contain, say, the subjunctive, more advanced tenses, verbs which are extremely irregular in different tenses, for example, and other areas which are very tricky for students, if clauses, and more. And simply memorizing a bunch of these phrases a day or two before your actual speaking test and before your writing test as well. And then using these in your speaking or writing papers can go a long way to directly boosting your grades. It shouldn't take too much extra effort to memorize just a handful of phrases as well. Learn topic-specific vocabulary. Each part of your speaking exam will be based on a particular topic area. Don't be tempted to skip certain topic areas in your revision. You can't bet on certain topic areas coming up and other ones just not coming up, because that will be randomized. So yeah, you should certainly revise topic-specific vocabulary across all of your topic areas. And you can find the topic areas for your particular exam board on the website of that exam board too. And try and remember, lastly, that the examiner is on your side as well. I've put that here because many students will feel overwhelmed in the moment when they're doing their speaking test in particular. And yeah, they may feel intimidated. They may feel somewhat intimidated by the examiner too. And they may forget that the examiner is actually there to help you. Generally, the examiner will, of course, want every student to do well. And to some extent, the examiner will often try and help with that as well, however much they're able to, realistically. So watch out for their gestures, facial expressions, things like that. The examiner will often try and communicate in those ways, which they're allowed to do, how you're doing and how your answer should be. So if they indicate like this with their hand, they may well want you to expand more or to give more detail in your answer. If they give a hand gesture like that, which is something like stop, they may be indicating to you that you've said enough. You don't need to say more. Their facial expressions will often give a good indication of how you're answering a particular question. So do watch out for those. They can be very useful hints. And the examiner will also, for example, in the topic-based conversations, try and ask you questions to prompt you to use tenses that you've not used before, particularly if you haven't used any of the core tenses, which you really need to use to get towards the top grades at all. The examiner is there to help you in that respect as well. So do pay a bit of attention to how they act and to the exact questions that they ask too. Make sure to listen out for the exact wording as well. Okay, a few more tips for the speaking exam. Speak in German, not in English. It sounds incredibly obvious, but every year you will, of course, get some candidates who, especially when they're flustered or completely unsure of what to say, will resort to English instead of using German. And of course, it's a German speaking exam, so that looks very bad. Even if you are flustered and you are feeling nervous, which is, of course, very likely to be the case, and the examiners will, of course, anticipate and they'll be understanding of that. Make sure that you do speak in German, not in English. And that includes when you're asking the examiner to repeat. If you haven't understood something, you can, of course, ask them to repeat, although try not to do that too many times. Try not to do so perhaps beyond 3 or 4 times over the course of the whole speaking exam, if possible. But make sure that you ask them in German and not in English. Because if you do use English, then of course that looks bad and you can certainly be penalized. So make sure you're also very clear on what each part of the German GCSE or iGCSE speaking exam consists of. And of course, the videos that I've made going through each and every part of the speaking exam should be very useful for that too. Practice using past paper materials as well. Each exam board should have some past paper materials out there on their websites, potentially other places on the internet as well. If you're struggling to find any, then you can reach out to me too. So do use those materials to prepare, particularly as you get closer to the actual exams. Within a month or so of the exams, I would pretty much uniquely use these past paper materials for your revision, because that's often the best way to revise. Okay. So now I'm just going to focus a bit more on the preparation time. So those 10 to 15 minutes of prep time that you would get before you actually step into your final speaking exam. And as mentioned, you would have all of your candidate cards with you during that preparation time. So whether if you're doing the role play, reading aloud task, or your photo card, you'd have each of your candidate cards for whichever ones of those tasks you have to do for your exam board on you during that time. You won't be allowed to look up anything, of course, or to use the internet. And yeah, the examiner or the invigilator will be there to make sure that you don't cheat in that preparation time. But this is what I would do if I had about 10 minutes of preparation time. So I would start off by reading through the instructions very thoroughly, making sure that I take all of it in and that I understand exactly what I have to do in each part of the speaking exam. So read over each of the candidate cards that you have. Those could include the role play, reading aloud task, potentially the photo card as well. That's the first thing to do, inevitably, for any student. I would then, of course, prepare what to say for each and every part of your role play or reading aloud task or your photo card. Yeah, of course, delete those as appropriate. That depends on, or which ones of these you'd have to do depends on your exam board. So they're not necessarily going to be the same for every student. But no matter which tasks you have to do, your job in the preparation time is to prepare what you're going to say for each and every part of those as best as you possibly can. That's the main thing to do in your preparation time, and that's what you should really spend the bulk of that preparation time on. Try and go through everything that is written on these candidate cards and prepare literally what you're going to say for every single one of them. Try and also memorize when you have to say each particular sentence or when you have to give each of those answers. And this does depend somewhat on your exam board too. But for many of those exam boards, you're allowed to make notes on another piece of paper during your preparation time. That's not the case for every exam board, unfortunately, but it is for quite a few of them. And if that's the case for you, again, make sure to check that. Make sure to check those details with your school teacher as well, or on the website of your exam board too. If that is the case, and you can make notes on another piece of paper, then definitely make sure to do that because you can bring that in with you. If you do have notes on another piece of paper, if you're allowed to do that, then you can bring those in with you for the start of your speaking exam, and that is a big help. That is a real advantage. So don't hesitate or shy away from using that. Try and make those notes as clear as possible. And as clear and succinct reminders to yourself of what you need to say for each part of the actual speaking exam as they can possibly be. Try also to anticipate what may come up in the unseen parts of your role play, reading aloud task, or photo card. Some parts of those candidate cards, will not give you all of the information. So, there will be unseen or unpredictable questions as well as part of, say, your role play or your reading aloud task, or potentially your photo card too. Those, of course, are unpredictable in nature. You don't know what exactly is going to come up or what the examiner will ask you then, but you can try and anticipate based on the information that you do have. You may be able to hazard a reasonable guess as to what those unpredictable questions could be. And so it can be definitely useful to try and anticipate what those questions could be and plan some answers for them too. But because we're talking about things that are unseen and unpredictable in nature, I would not spend too long on that. I would definitely spend much longer on preparing what to say for the things that you know definitely are going to come up in your speaking exam, rather than just having a guess as to what those unpredictable or unseen parts of your speaking exam will consist of. It can still be useful to spend a minute or two trying to anticipate these unpredictable elements. That depends somewhat on you as a candidate, but don't spend the bulk of your preparation time on that. Make notes on a separate piece of paper if you can. As mentioned, that can be a huge advantage. And lastly, but certainly not least, I would take a few deep breaths, try and calm yourself down and put yourself in the best state of mind possible before you actually step into the exam room where your actual speaking exam will take place. That can be very important too. As mentioned, the speaking exam tends to be the most nerve-wracking for students. So there's no harm whatsoever in taking 30 seconds to a minute right at the end of that preparation time, or even just before you go into the room for your speaking exam, to take a few deep breaths and make sure you're in the right state of mind as well, as that can make a difference, of course, too. And just to give you full information too, What will actually happen once you actually go into the room for the speaking exam is the examiner would introduce themselves. They'll normally speak to you, chat a little bit for maybe 30 seconds to a minute, again, just to make sure that you're at ease, that you're not feeling too stressed. They'll often speak to you a little bit in German too, just as friendly conversation to put you at ease and to get you into that mode of thinking and speaking in German already. They'll then usually tell you what the speaking exam will consist of, and the order of the tasks in the speaking exam again. They'll tell you, yeah, they'll make it clear to you exactly what you're going to have to do in the speaking exam. They will then announce to you that they're going to start the tape. They'll start the tape. They'll announce their own important personal details, like their own name, which exam board it is, and so on. They'll then give your details, like your name, your candidate number, and so on. And then you'd start with the first part of the speaking exam. So again, try and remember that the examiner is on your side, and they're not actually there to scare you or to try and take marks off at all. Okay, so that previous slide was on how to prepare during that 10 to 15 minutes of preparation time before your actual speaking exam. But of course, how you revise is also very, very important. And this particular slide, which talks about revision time, is more about what you can do in the days building up to your final speaking exam, instead of those 10 to 15 minutes of preparation time. So this is, of course, more general in nature. But this is what I would do when revising for my German GCSE or iGCSE speaking test. So start early, first of all. As a tutor, tutors will always come across many students and parents who are feeling very, very stressed and looking for last minute help just a day or two or a week or so before the final speaking test, or any other paper for that matter. So it is important to start early. That really helps with reducing the stress and with making you feel more in control of the result and of what's going on. And make sure that you put together a revision plan as well. The revision plan should be comprehensive, it should cover everything, and it should be realistic as well. So don't aim to do 10 hours a day if you know that that is too much for you and not something that is realistically possible at all. I would definitely put breaks into your revision plan directly as well, so that you're not tempted to not take breaks. There should be realistic breaks. Don't give yourself an hour of study and then an hour's worth of a break in between every hour of revision, because that won't help you prepare very well. But do give yourself break time as well. Do mix up what you revise, so make sure that you're not spending hours and hours poring over exactly the same material, because that tends not to be the most efficient or useful way to revise at all. And make sure that your revision plan is somewhat flexible as well. So if your revision doesn't end up going exactly as planned, perhaps it might go better in some areas than in others, then you should be able to adapt your revision plan accordingly too. Make sure that you understand the differences between the different parts of your speaking exam too. That is absolutely vital. The way that you approach the role play and the techniques required are quite different, very different from, say, the topic-based conversation. So make sure that you're aware of those. And again, I have done separate videos on each of those different parts of the speaking exam. So make sure to watch those in full as well. Those should be very useful on understanding these differences. And revise each and every topic area too. Sometimes students will be tempted to just skip through some of those and only focus on the topic areas that they are hoping or perhaps thinking may come up. That is very dangerous business, though, because ultimately it's random and nobody can predict exactly what topic areas will come up in your particular speaking test. So, yeah, avoid doing that and make sure to revise all of the topic areas. You'll find the topic areas on the website of your exam board too. You can get in touch with me if there's any doubts over that at all as well. Okay, so now I'm going to take you through a brief quiz to test your understanding of the speaking exam for German GCSE or iGCSE. So, question number 1, how can you prepare for the role play or reading aloud task or even the photo card in your preparation time? I'm going to give you a few seconds to think through this. Okay, and now I'm going to show you the answer. So, The answer to this is you should read through all of the instructions on the candidate cards. Of course, it's very important to understand what they're asking you to do, and then plan exactly what you're going to say and when. Don't hesitate to write out answers or parts of answers on another piece of paper if you're allowed to do so too. Yeah, but most of that time will be spent memorizing, planning what you're going to say, and then memorizing that as well. Question 2 is true or false. You only need to revise the topic areas that you think are going to come up in your speaking exam. I said this right towards the end, so hopefully it shouldn't be too difficult to remember, but I'm going to give you a few seconds nonetheless. Okay, now let me show you the answer to this. This one is false, of course. You should revise all of the topic areas for your exam board, as you can't predict exactly which ones will come up in your particular German GCSE or iGCSE speaking test. And question 3, which is also a true or false one, the preparation time before you go into your speaking exam is always between 15 and 20 minutes. That's something I did mention earlier too. Okay, now I'm going to show the answer for this one. This is actually false as well. The preparation time would always be between 10 and 15 minutes, somewhere between those two. The exact duration does vary from exam board to exam board. Do check with your school teacher on the website of your exam board how it's going to be for your exam board too. It's important to know as precisely as possible. And question number 4, finally, what could you do to prepare for the unseen or unpredictable elements of your speaking exam? Okay, let me reveal the answer then for this one. So these are, of course, naturally a lot harder to prepare for, but you can try and anticipate common questions that could come up there and how you'd potentially answer these. I would not spend too long doing that, though, and particularly not waste too much of that preparation time on this. So if you have questions on any of that at all, or if you'd like to know about more personalized help, which I do offer, then you can get in touch by email, through Facebook or Instagram. I post every single day on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn to be precise, about my love of languages, of course, hopefully inspiring more and more people to learn languages and giving them the tools to do so whilst having a lot of fun. But I do post a lot about GCSE and iGCSE language exams too, including how to revise, how to maximize your marks, how to go in with the correct mindset, and more. So don't hesitate to give me a follow on each of those platforms. I have many resources, including free ones available for German GCSE and iGCSE students, and for students of other GCSE and iGCSE language exams too. And I do one-to-one classes, group classes, courses, and plenty more. So don't hesitate to reach out at all if you'd like to know more on any of this.